and then seeing if we can just get done what we wanted to get done. So, who am I and what are we doing? And the reason I'm doing this, I mean, some of you know who I am and perhaps have an idea of what I'm doing or attempting to do. And so I'm Adam Abraham, but I started this. I put down here redo. It's a redo because I've Redux, redo, etc. I have attempted to do this earlier today. This is the Onesciousness. This is the Onescious Wealth Movement. This is what I'm calling it. And the idea basically is these are talks. This is day 9. I've done 8 of these before, and I started live streaming on Facebook, and I wanted to live stream on Facebook and on YouTube, and I wasn't able to get that done right away, and this has been an evolutionary process, and it continues to be one. But today I am live streaming this on Facebook and on YouTube, and for the first time, if all goes right, on Rumble as well. And so we'll see what is happening. If anything, it's still a soliloquy at the moment because I'm still dealing with my own process with this. But my first part of it is to make a commitment to do it. And so I decided to do this every day at 2 o'clock Pacific time, and generally from 2 to 3:30. But basically, if I'm talking by myself, I'm just going to do this till I stop. Generally speaking, so far it's been somewhere around an hour's time. Now, what's the purpose of this? First of all, it is about wealth, yes, but from a spiritual standpoint. And I have all these preambles. We are a society that is accustomed to thinking of things in a similar way or in a particular way that we are accustomed to thinking about it. As such, we judge based on what we have already determined and all of the present or previous information that we've assimilated on the particular subject. And you know something that will not suffice for the things that you want to do in the future. And I'm not talking simply about wealth or about money and those things. I'm talking about anything and everything as far as life is concerned. Going with the flow of the familiar is the best way to ensure that only the familiar continues to happen in the here on. If you want to change something in the now and in the here on, you've got to take in data, you've got to take in points of information, and you got to consider them and decide on them now, at which point in time you will effectuate those changes. Those changes will appear in your experience. And oftentimes we are running on our memories of things and our present conventions of thinking about certain things, which then become part of how we talk about things and how we act, react, or no act whatsoever. Okay, so if you stay still, you're not changing anything. If you react without the benefit of a new and a different frame of mind, you're not getting to where you want to go. And if you simply go on advice of experts who haven't, or anyone who has not put the effort or the thought or desire that matches yours into the equation, you're not going to get where you want to go. And so these are the fundamentals of change, which are not being factored into the dialogue and the thinking more so, because the dialogue comes from the thinking. You can at least hear the dialogue. You can hear the thinking. You can get a feel for what people are thinking by their dialogue. But if they're mum, you don't know. All right. And if their actions are not in alignment with what they're saying, well, that says something too. But then, unless you're accustomed to noticing those things, you still don't know. So we give, I'm going to say, lip service to a lot of things that we want to see differently. and we want to change. But oftentimes, our words, as well as our thoughts that are not said, they indicate that either we're not confident of ourselves or we're more concerned about what someone else is doing than to simply go about our own business, go about our own life, and do the things we want to do. Okay, because oftentimes we're setting aside our own dreams, our own thoughts, our own considerations, our passions, and I'm talking about positive initiatives. We spend so much time thinking about the negative, the bad, and everything else, and then that's where our attention is, and that's what we got to now get up for and everything else. But you know what you're doing is you're giving energy to it, even if it's not in alignment with what you want to do, and you give all this energy, you direct your attention to it, you're feeding it as opposed to the dream, the real thing that you want, the thing that's in your heart. If your mind is over there, or if you're doing it because of what's happening over there, whatever it is, then you're not feeding your own passion, your own desire, even if that desire is truly for someone else or to help someone else. Ultimately, you need to fill your own cup first. And most people, many people who are calling for changes of different types are walking around with their own cups empty. And it's not necessary, and it's not going to help them get where they want to go. So, the thrust of this series, the thrust of the ideas associated with this series have to do, and they center around first opening up your own imagination, our own imagination, and permitting ourselves to imagine what we really want. I'm not talking about what someone else has told you ought to be. I'm talking about what you want for you. I mean, if you're sitting around and you're hate, what kind of words? Like three different words want to come out at the same time. If you're hurting, if you're anxious, if you're under stress of some type that no one else really cares about, I'm just going to tell you, because they got their own, then you need to be caring enough about yourself and confident enough within yourself to actually help yourself and to be able to do so. And again, your thoughts about you, your thoughts about the world around you, and particularly the people of this world, the spirits um, who are present here along with you. They are beings just like you and I. They are life just like you and I. Now, if you've got an issue with them, you got an issue with yourself. If you want to fix something with them, really, you got to fix something within yourself. And I'm not saying that you're wrong about anything. I'm simply saying that if you're not in joy about things, if you're not in love, if you are not able to discern what's true from false, then you need to work on yourself first. This is how you fill your own cup. Okay. Now, the next part of this is your thinking. We're talking about imagining. You are an imaginer. Imagine that you are an imaginer. Imagine that's what you are. You imagine things, and you have the power to turn what you imagine into an experience. It may not be for someone else, but it will be an experience for you. Now, the cool thing is when you realize that much about yourself and just accept it. Let's say we're just talking and you imagine yourself as an imaginer, and you imagine yourself as one who actually creates. First of all, you absolutely create experiences for yourself. You create all of your experiences, but we have certain words, certain ideas and concepts that seem to call question to that fact. We have this idea, we can rationalize things with words like luck, and then we can put additional qualifiers or clarifiers on them called good luck and bad luck. We have ways that we can dismiss things. Well, for example, when we see something going on that's out of spec with a narrative, then we can call that a placebo or placebo. Okay. And then, but if something is going on and we we don't like what it is, or we don't feel we've got on it, we can give it all kinds of different names that don't have anything to do with us because we think we're not connected to the things that are quote unquote bad. Well, God, why did God let these things happen? And I'm not sure I believe in God because God lets these things happen to certain people and stuff like that, or to me for that matter. I've done these things. God has done this and that and the other. Excuse me. You're sitting here, you're existing, and then you're talking about what God has allowed you to do, and you're debating a narrative, and in the meantime, you're sitting around broadcasting all this negativity and dissatisfaction, and then you wonder why the graces and the other things are simply staying beyond, not only beyond arm's length, sometimes beyond mind's length. You're not getting enough ideas of something that you really care about, that you want to do, that really would make you feel real good about things. And we don't see that it is ourselves that are keeping those ideas away. We believe in things like glass ceilings, paper walls, and all other kinds of things as a way to rationalize why the things, the life that we want and the life that we are not meeting. So part of this thing, part of my doing this, one is to deal with the imaginal, because those are the facts, things that keep us apart from the things that not, and not just things, and I'm talking about experiential effects, and that could be health, it could be happiness, it could be companionship, and it could certainly be something called wealth and well-being for that matter. And so that's the first part of it. I'm just going to be talking the way I'm doing right now. I will show you some things. And because this is the Mulligan, I'm not going to, well, as I feel it right now, I'm not going to stay long. However, if this thing goes in fullness on the three channels that I've set it on, it sets the stage for me to continue on coming to tomorrow, which will be my day 10. And I'm going from now or today until the 22nd of December with this series. I will also probably do some transcribing of this. This could be part of a book or something like that. I will also tell you that I have come to uh, I'm starting to outcast, okay, outcast, broadcast, what do you want to say, on TikTok, for example. I'm not doing that right now, but I'll do that. I'm doing that separately. And the other thing, let me get to the real point of this. In addition to all of that, we got to deal with the perceptual. And now there's the mechanics. The mechanical part of all of this is, and it's something that we can do, is we're going to go and visit a website, because on the subject of what we call wealth and the process of what people in prior times, let's put it this way, in prior times, it would be about making money. And you see, that's prior times. It's also prior ways of thinking. All the things that we used to do relative to and pursuant to the making of something called money. Ultimately, and first of all, those pursuits were about having sufficient value available to you. Some people will call them liquid assets that are available to you in sufficient supply to allow you to live your life. Because the way things, so let's say, evolved in our society, is people tended to do certain things. It was a quid pro quo, so to speak. You do this, therefore that. You do this activity in order to get that effect. That has been the way people have done things for eons, for ages, generations, etc. Now, the point basically that because it was all physical, mechanical for all practical purposes, you performed a service, and that service could be any number of things. You could use your knowledge and the information that you gain. That has some value to various people, and because they have some value to it, they will want to engage you because of what you have created for yourself. Now, in terms of being able to exchange, but people have gone away from loving what they do to doing what they feel will get them the most value, so to speak. And their love may, or what they think they can get based on what they have spent time doing in terms of cultivating either their mind, their body, or some skills that would be valuable to others. And, but again, the objective morphs from something that you love to do. I mean, I think about who the guy who created the Stradivarius, and at some point I'd have some graphics and stuff, and you see a picture of a Stradivarius violin, for example, and you think of how the sound of them and how they're revered and how the value of them. Well, hell, I'm sure Stradivarius, whoever it was that created Stradivarius, did not get the value or get in turn monetarily in exchange for what people are now demanding and getting to exchange for ownership or availability of a Stradivarius today. You get to a place where the value is associated with the name, and then when the name goes someplace, then the perceived value tends to go with them. The guy or whoever created it, you know, you're out in the cold. Perhaps until after you pass from this plane, and then now the value is there again because they don't have to deal with you directly. Yeah, that's just kind of the way things have worked or evolved here. But that was then. My point basically is that people do all this work, they do all this work, and then they make something and they send it on, and people see the value in the thing that they've made, and the person, the creator, now they got to make another one. They're at square one. So again, until they leave the plane, and now all of a sudden everything they've made is valuable because, well, they're not here anymore. We can value you now because you're not here. All right. And in the meantime, the guy scuffles and scuffles. I mean, look at Van Gogh's and his work. The boy cut off part of his ear and all this stuff, and probably struggled much of his life financially. Did all that hard work thanklessly, no less. Then he shows all of these signs of dissatisfaction and sadness and everything else. Okay, now he goes, oh, now we can go and now we can enjoy his work because we don't have to deal with him. Yeah, that's all old school. These are old ways of thinking and doing things. And you know something, it's time to regard people while they're here. And not only is it time to regard people while they're here, it's time to regard yourself while you are here. In addition to that, happily, I'm able to say that today you can create value yourself. You can create a store of value yourself that is yours, that available to, and you get it in a different way because it's not based on how much you have that's tangible. It's based on what you have that is intangible. You've got courage. You've got you certainly got love. You've got regard and respect. All of these things you can apply for yourself, and all of these things tend to be set aside in our present way of exchanging value in our culture. So we've got a culture that is built on exchanging value by different means that don't have love, don't have respect, don't have regard, don't have other types of things in terms of what's right and what's wrong, so to speak, what's beneficial and what's harmful. If you are willing to do something for a buck, and they say everyone has their price, well, you'll find someone willing to, if you find someone willing to spend it, you'll find someone willing to take it. And in the meantime, they're creating harm or they're perpetuating harm that really, in and of itself, needs to be resolved. It needs to be mollified. They're that'll translate really good. Mollified. They need to be mitigated. Imbalances need to be balanced. Disturbances need to be harmonized once again. And when people are not motivated to do so, then they stay there until they do. And the other part of it is people don't realize, and you won't hear this from anyone else, okay? Maybe you will. I'm sure you will, okay? But part of my way of looking at things today, I didn't come in with that idea, but I did write a book. I authored a book. You could say I took dictation for a book, and the title of the book is I Am My Body. Not. We're not our bodies. We are living forms of energy. We are expressions of energy, of which this body is my temple, if you will. It's my way of being here in this place called whatever we call this place, but it is not me. That's the message. It's no more me than this shirt. This T-shirt is me. Okay, but our society, the consciousness of the beings that are here, uh, they act as though the body is who they are, and it's not so much that that's the normal assumption. It is the belief that has been passed on for many generations, even though we're only here for some small period of time. The planet has apparently been here for 4.6 billion years, and no one, generally speaking, has been here any longer than a few decades. I mean, certainly not many more than 10 decades. And yet we're thinking as though we're forever in this form, and we've got to somehow protect and preserve this form. We talk about life being valuable, that you shouldn't kill and stuff like that, and yet we go back and forth, not only in antagonism, but we do it also in just simple abuse and error in our thinking, to the point that we try to preserve something that is impermanent, and we don't acknowledge the part of us that is permanent, and it is not this. So my inclination is to talk about that as a part of any and everything else, because if you're not your body, it means you are an eternal being. You are immortal being yourself. I am an immortal being myself. And so to respect my life is to respect all life, first of all. And the respect that I consciously, voluntarily, of volition, embrace, the love that I voluntarily embrace and that I put into actions in my life in the here and now, it goes with me from lifetime, from temporal lifetime to temporal lifetime, because that's the existence of this body is here as long as I have something to do here. When I'm done, I'm out of here. And it means, and the truth is, every time I go to sleep at night, every time we go to sleep at night, we're someplace else. We have the body sitting there on low, so to speak, just while we're gone. So we can recharge it. We can do a lot of things while we're someplace else, but we don't retain, generally speaking, the memory of this. But sometimes we do. And sometimes it's amazing, because life beyond this body is amazing in many, a multiplicity of ways, but it takes a mind, it takes a being that's willing to see it and willing to be your best here. When I know it's possible to do something better here, and I found out during some of my journeys, then the desire is to introduce those here and to help people to make their own lives better here. Okay, what we do here to make life better goes with us when we leave. The things that we ignore when we could have made something better here, we we retain it. It's still part of our consciousness. But what is that? It functions as a blinder to an obstruction to places and experiences that we actually do want to uh, experience and go to. And again, it has to do with beliefs, so to speak, as well. Beliefs can be true or not, okay? But they will affect the consciousness that holds them. And so a lot of the beliefs that we carry we either brought with us when we entered this because it's part of our consciousness, or they were impressed upon us upon entry, okay? Because a lot of people experience a whole bunch of shock, a whole bunch of trauma when they entered this world through what's called a birthing process, and not to mention the encounters, after you got here. Hey, thank you, Perspective Empire. I just went over there, and I appreciate that. So the thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to do these musings to start each of these talks. But one of the things that people can do for themselves is to actually participate in, and this is why I call it a conscious wealth movement. I call it a wealth movement because, first of all, it is a process by which each person, each individual, can actually participate in their own shift in value. The first part of the shift in value is totally imaginal. You could call it psychological, you can talk it spiritual, etc. Because I tell you, in the time that we interact over the course of years, from education to many different things, our sense of worth and value is pushed down, pushed down, pushed down. It is moved against, and most people aren't aware of it. I mean, you can see so many things that's a part of our society. The whole idea of something for nothing, the whole idea of trying to use other people's money. These are these are psychological. These are like engrams. I think there's a term, and I'll look that up at one point. But engrams that are sit there. These they work on one's consciousness un, un, if that person has not developed, I guess, a proclivity to discern for themselves what's beneficial and what's not. And so you got to decide for yourself what's beneficial and what's not. And you have to decide for yourself whether something that is introduced to you is of benefit. If it is, you support it. And also, it's not just what's coming to you, because we got information coming from all different places and ways, but we also have impulses coming to us from within, and it's coming also through our and to our consciousness. We are aware of them. You cannot be aware. You cannot not be aware. That's it. You cannot not be aware, or in other words, you cannot be unaware of the impulses that come from within you. The point basically is that others can be unaware or simply don't care. They are so insulated and isolated from their own joy, from their own love and respect and self respect, from their own distortions, from their own errors in their own thinking, because we have inherited, we have been impressed with many, many errors in thinking, and then they become our gospels. I'm talking, and they become our behaviors. They become the ideas that we fight for and we kill for, even though it's not possible to kill anyone. We don't know life well enough to realize that it itself is a continuum that we are card carrying members of, inviolate, and always have been, always will be, without beginning and without end. When we get that, when we understand, when we understand that, well, gee, well, why would I do things even though it doesn't harm me? Why would I go through the motion and go through the effort of perceiving harm, perceiving loss for that matter? When you understand that there is no thing called death, so to speak, there's no state. There is a process of leaving the house when you're done, when your job is done, or when your ability to function sufficiently with this form is done. Man, if life wasn't able to produce another one, gosh, if I held up, if you picture a kernel of corn, not a kernel, but an entire, not a stalk, excuse me, ear. If you picture an ear of corn, it's got all the kernels on it and stuff like that. And of course, you can see a stalk as well that have a whole bunch of ears of corn on there as well. But from that one ear of corn, you can create literally an immeasurable number of other ears simply by taking those little kernels off, put them in the ground, putting some water on them, and boom, it replicates itself. Boom, it replicates itself. It does this over and over and over and over again as often as you want without any real difficulty. So the factors that create that ability to replicate abundantly and infinitely is what you are, is what I am. And we are acting as though we are something else, that we are incapable of this or incapable of that. But if we are able to create this one form, we are able to create a multiplicity of them ad infinitum. Okay, I'm going to say it that way. Some people say infinitum. You got an idea of what I'm talking about. This is an ability, this is part of our very nature that we have overlooked. We do overlook. And see, when you add that or restore that into your worldview, so to speak, now there's something else we can start looking at. This is freedom. It's freedom that is created as we pull our errors in thinking out, as we change them, we transform them with clear and accurate ways of looking at things. And in one regard, you're taking the friction out, you're taking the diffractions away that allow you to see things as they are and correct things that need to be corrected, actually speaking, as opposed to having this discourse and dialogues or monologues about something that's problematic, which has nothing to do with what's necessary to fix the problem. And we're fixing a problem. What are we doing? We are actually restoring our own freedom, because when we see things clearly, we start seeing causes, we start seeing effects, we also start seeing new vistas of experiences that are available to us, as opposed to experiences, one, that we got that you don't want, first of all, and then second, that you really do want, but you're thinking is it's beyond you. And the truth is, it is beyond you, because you're not compatible with the energetics of the experience itself. Some experiences require, well, every experience requires what it requires for it to be. So when you have an experience right now that you maybe don't care that much about, it's what you're compatible with right now. You want something else, you need to change yourself, because you can perceive it, it exists, but you need to change other parts of yourself, other parts of your thinking, okay, in order to actually experience it. So, but all that said, I have been talking about the cooperative um, system, and I'm going to bring this out. It's called Co-op Inc. It is a way by which anyone can begin a process of building income, building what would be considered wealth, so to speak, and they're doing it through methods and means that are available to everyone. And so, because it's not based on the amount of funds that you have in terms of the asset value, asset capital, it starts with the amount of consciousness that you are willing to apply in your life, first to yourself, and then the degree to which you're willing to help others to do the same thing. And this system can, and since, because I've talked about it before, can be implemented, and these incomes, these outcomes rather, can be realized with as few as 3 people, inviting 3 people who do what you do as step one, and inviting and helping and assisting those 3 to do the same thing that you did. So, in other words, 3 people plus 9 people. And then you are passing on, we are passing on a behavior. I'm looking up, and you might see this, that I'm looking up and looking up because I got a whole bunch of screens up. And all right, I'm going to go to a separate screen here. I'm going to do a screen share, my entire screen, and turn that on. And so, and I got to select my screen. So, what you're about to see here, well, now I can just do this. Boom. Here we go. This is the opening or the screen, and I will also say that the QR code that's on the screen you see at the bottom right is actually how you, if you scan that, you can go to that page, and this is the platform itself. So first things first, well, I've given everything I've talked. I've realized, okay, I'm 36 minutes in. I'm just bringing the screen up. And I'm just going to scroll down. I'm not going to go into uh, the daily parts of it, but I'm just going to explain the way this works. It works on a different principle. Now, I've said this many, many times on many videos and received very little response, and that I'm happy to say in the past. And because I too, I was not willing or ready, or whatever the case may be, to say things my way. Now, with all due respect to any and everyone who is doing this, there is a certain way that they're saying, there's a certain state of mind from which these dialogues come. And to me, that state of mind, what was being said wasn't resonating to me, even though this system, this platform can allow people to do amazing things with their value. All right. So the system has worked, does work. The system has evolved and it's still evolving, and it is something still very new. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this little video here, maybe this one here too. This is the guy, his name is David Rosen, who developed the system itself, the co-op system. So I'm going to do this, and it talks about here below what needs to be done, etc. But I'm going to play this right now, 3 minutes or so. Let's go with it.
In today's challenging times, financial security seems like a distant dream. But what if there's a way to turn that dream into reality? Welcome to Co-op Inc., where we've had your back since 2001. Struggling with unemployment or underemployment? Feeling like there's more month than money? Co-op Inc.
I like
is
that.
your solution. And we're not just another one of those programs. We are a revolution in how you will earn an income, a major paradigm shift in financial empowerment. Imagine a system that's automated, decentralized, and private. A system that can quickly cover your monthly bills, get you out of debt, and put money in your pocket immediately. That's Co-op Inc. For you, affordable, easy to understand, and insanely rewarding. We created crowdfunding in 2001, launching the world's first online global peer-to-peer money exchange system. And for over 2 decades, we've been putting hundreds of millions of dollars into people's pockets worldwide. Now, we're releasing Crowdfunding 2.0, cooperative crowdfunding, helping you receive a limitless income over and over again instead of a one-time donation. We call it Pop Income, a predictable, ongoing passive income, and you can receive it every second of every day to fund your life. Our system is based on the world-famous Mobius Loop, a unique follow-me income technology. This means you and your team support each other continuously, generating an incredible pop income, providing you with daily cash flow in ever-increasing amounts. With Co-op Inc., you have 8 ways to generate an income. The people you've personally invited, the people they've invited, help from above, help from below, automatic progression, renewals, re-entries. and one time funds from people who just want to help you. Choose from 3 Co op Inc. cooperatives, each offering a faster path to financial freedom. And with our proprietary co-op wallet, the world's first decentralized private digital wallet, you receive funds immediately from multiple sources simultaneously and can manage your money 24/7. Our system is foolproof. Automated placements, automated royalties, automated subscription payments, and even automated re-entries. You're in control with the option to advance at your pace. And as your network grows, so does your income automatically and effortlessly. Earning a huge pop income in Co-op Inc. is simple. Just 2 steps. Register as a Co-op Inc. affiliate member and help 3 or more do the same. That's it. Then sit back and watch as your pop income grows with your team and your income increases, all without extra effort. At Co-op Inc., we believe in the power of teamwork. The bigger your team, the bigger your dream. Together, we have created a cooperative income system that changes lives. Ask yourself, do you need more money? Do you know 3 or more others who need more money? Do you have $20 plus small third-party fees to get started right now? If you answered yes, then you're ready for Co-op Inc. Click the registration link and let's team up to dream up. Welcome to Co-op Inc., where your path to financial freedom begins right now. Let's get busy with it.
All right. Okay. So that's David Rosen. That is the sales pitch, and that's in essence. First and foremost is the mind. It's the heart that needs to open to change. And when you change your mind, you open your heart and you link those two together. No longer is there, you're connected with the finite and the infinite. We have habituated on looking at ourselves as finite, and we have interpreted our ability based on our how efficiently and effectively we retain usable value. This co-op system will literally do more than that. It not only helps you to build a stream of value that comes into you, it does it. It's liquid value. In other words, you can be there. Are so many how many millionaires are out there who don't have all of their funds into stuff, but they don't have any funds available. And when they want something, they need to go ask someone for it. They got to go to the bank. They got to do this. They got to jump through hoops. That's still old school. That's the old way. We are talking about establishing a new way that's based on and in what's called the crypto space. It is a new way to accrue value and to receive value, and also to create new dynamics in the direction and the flow of that value, those value assets, I'll call them. And so that is what this is about. Uh, what I will do is I will go into co-op tomorrow. I think I've talked enough. It's 43 minutes in. And when I get to a place where I got a whole bunch of people in here, or some people in here who are interested enough in talking about this, then we'll talk about that too. And I will, maybe I'll get to what I need to say quicker, but this is what we're talking about. And when people are interested enough, they will express their interest. And when enough people are interested in this, especially from the way I'm saying this and explaining these things, they start imagining things differently for themselves that they want for themselves. They will start demanding it too. So that's who I'm looking out for. And when you show up, I'll be here for you. At any rate, not only inviting you to join, but also being in support to help you to present this to others. And just if you like this video, if it caused you to move and do something, share it with them. And then get in touch with me. Uh, Find me on Facebook, friend me on Facebook, and that'll be a way that we can interact directly. But I'm gonna stop now. Until next time, thank you so much for your interest, your attentiveness, and your action. And until next time, I'll say peace. Be well, be prosperous. And I love you all. There we go.